What are the pros and cons of living in Guelph, Ontario? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 22 top pros and cons I discuss with all my clients before helping them make the move to Guelph, Ontario. Now, this includes everything from the real estate, the shopping, the schools, the parks, the entertainment, and more, so you know if Guelph is right for you and your family. But first, let's take a look at the location, and this happens to be the very first pro, as this is located just outside of the Greater Toronto area. However, doesn't have those real estate prices that are necessarily always associated with the Greater Toronto area. And as a result, this is a great option for anyone that is looking to move outside the city, but still have easy access to both just Toronto, but other areas in the Greater Toronto area. As in total, the population is just over 150,000 people. It is about a 30-minute drive away from Waterloo, 50 minutes from Burlington, 50 minutes from Hamilton, an hour to an hour 45, depending on traffic, down to downtown Toronto and Union Station. And one of the pros a lot of my clients cite about loving living in Guelph is that it is very safe. As the recent report for the 2023 police statistics by Statistics Canada just came out, and it showed Guelph continuing to have one of the lowest crime severity indexes in all of Canada. In fact, it was the 8th lowest in Canada and the 4th lowest in Ontario. And the crime severity index takes both the number of crimes that happen as well as the severity of police reported crimes. And there's even many sites that rank Guelph higher than this, with it being ranked top 3 in the safest cities in Canada, and was also ranked top 5 in Canada by University Magazine. And I know a lot of my clients who have young families love this fact, but they also love this next pro about living in Guelph, and that is the amazing schools. As in total, you're going to find 32 different elementary schools, both public and Catholic, with a few different Christian and private schools mixed in as well, with 9 of those elementary schools ranking in the top 500 in Ontario according to the Fraser Institute rankings, as well as a variety of other ones just rating above the provincial average. And then as for high schools, 6 out of the 7 high schools that were in Guelph ranked above the provincial average and were in the top 100 in Ontario according to the Fraser Institute. Now, with that said, the most notable school isn't the elementary schools or the high schools, but rather the university you're going to be finding in Guelph at Guelph University, as this is a world-renowned university ranking 456 in the world in 2023, and it's known as the leader in applied agricultural, animal sciences, environmental sciences, and even the veterinarian college was ranked number 1 in Canada and top 10 worldwide. And if your kids are planning on going to Guelph, you'll be happy that they'll be well fed, as it was ranked as the best university campus food in all of Canada. Now, with that said, one of the pros or cons, depending on how you look at it, is the inflow of students that come and then leave as the school year starts and ends. Then the next school you're going to notice a lot of students attending will be Conestoga College, the Guelph campus. This is the provincial leader in really motive power trades, including automotive, trucking, coach, and heavy equipment, with more than 300 programs for your kids to attend. And then in Guelph, like I mentioned, you're gonna find a few different private schools. 2 of the more notable ones would be the Wellington Hall Academy, as well as the Trillium Waldorf School. So if you're new here and want to learn everything about what it's like living in Guelph, as well as the surrounding cities in Hamilton, anything in Halton like Milton, Burlington, Oakville, make sure to hit the subscribe button. My name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team, and we've been helping people just like yourselves relocate here. So if you're thinking about making the move and buying a home, whether it's in 60 days or in 6 months, send me and my team a message today. And while Guelph has many pros that we've talked about and will continue to talk about, there are some cons you need to be aware of. And the first con that often came up when discussing with my clients who have lived here now, as well as my friends and family, was the growing pains Guelph is seeing, as because the city continues to grow with more people leaving the Greater Toronto area to live in Guelph, this has caused some growing pains. In particular, you you have the hospital wait times being one of the most cited things, as currently there's one hospital in Guelph, the Guelph General Hospital, and with the growing population has allowed more growing wait times, as at the beginning of 2024, the average wait time here was 5 hours to see a doctor. However, the city of Guelph is already working to combat this, and they are currently working on expanding the hospital in the coming years. But then the second growing pain is going to be the infrastructure and redevelopment, as there's going to be lots of different traffic bottlenecks. Now, nothing compares to driving in Toronto when you're driving in Guelph, but for what Guelph's residents who have lived there for 20 years are now seeing is a lot more bottlenecks. In particular, you're going to find some bottlenecks commuting out to Highway 124 out towards Cambridge, but as well as Highway 6, as this is one of the main roads that will take you to the 401, and especially if Highway 6 isn't backed up, the 401 will be backed up heading into Toronto or heading home, depending on the time you're going. And then the other area that is going to see the most amount of bottlenecks is around that downtown area, where you're only going to have a few bridges crossing the rivers, but as well just the narrow streets because of all the historic heritage buildings that call the downtown home. And then the other con that is often associated with Guelph, especially from long-term residents, is the growing real estate prices, as more and more people are moving into here. With the supply not keeping up, it's causing the real estate prices, like almost everywhere else in Canada, to continue to rise and making it unaffordable for some people, as in the last 10 years it has risen significantly. But that also kind of brings me onto some pros, and that is what I would refer to the real estate, as a lot of my clients are coming from the Greater Toronto area and are looking to expand outside of that. And when you compare Guelph to the Greater Toronto area cities, you're going to find it's much more affordable, as here we can see the real estate detached median sold prices for the last 10 years of Guelph, and then can compare it to Rockwood, Acton, Georgetown, Milton, Burlington, and Waterloo, and find out Guelph is more affordable. However, it is slightly more expensive than Kitchener, Cambridge, and Hamilton. Then as for how the real estate within Guelph breaks down, was its majority detached homes, as this made up 59% of the real estate sales in the past 12 months, and they're really selling within two price ranges. The first one is anything from $700,000 to $900,000, and these here typically are the older bungalows, side splits, and back splits built anywhere from the 1950s to the 1990s, usually offering 3 beds and 2 to 3 bathrooms with a single car garage in established neighborhoods with mature trees. And then the other price range you're going to find the most amount of real estate options to choose from is anything listed between $900,000 and $1.25 million. Here you're going to find some of those older bungalows, side splits, and back splits that have been renovated, are the biggest ones, or have a huge lot or something unique and special about them. But you're also going to find a lot of newer 2-story homes that were built anywhere from 1990s up to today, usually offering 3 to 4 beds and 3 to 4 bathrooms, and usually have a double car garage. And then as for townhomes, this made up 21% of the real estate sales in the past 12 months, typically selling between $500,000 and $800,000, with a good chunk of townhomes in Guelph being condo townhomes. However, you can also find a lot of great freehold townhomes as well at the upper end of that price range there. Most offer 3 beds and 2 to 3 bathrooms, and the majority of townhomes were built anywhere from the 1990s up until today, with the newest home options being on the south end or the furthest east end of Guelph. And then as for condos, this made up 20% of the real estate sales in the past 12 months, typically selling between $400,000 and $700,000, and are either located in the downtown area of Guelph or also in the south end. But reality is, in each one of the neighborhoods in Guelph, you're going to find a variety of low-rise condo options to choose from, usually offering 1 to 2 beds and 1 to 2 bathrooms, with a condo monthly maintenance fee being between $300 and $700. So if you're interested in learning more about exactly what you can buy in Guelph based on your search criteria, send me and my team a message today to book your free relocation consult call. Other than that, the next thing you need to know about living in Guelph when buying real estate will be the higher property taxes. As if we compare Guelph to the other property taxes that are around the city, you're going to be finding that it was ranked 20th out of the 35 cities which were studied, making it a higher tax rate compared to Oakville, Milton, Burlington, Kitchener, and Waterloo. However, it is slightly lower than compared to Hamilton's tax rate, and this doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, as they've recently announced that they're going to be increasing the property taxes in the coming year. Then the next pro or con, depending on how you're looking at it and what you're looking for, is the employment that Guelph offers. As overall, Guelph has one of the lowest unemployment rates at just 2% in Canada. However, with that said, a lot of the people that live in Guelph either commute to the GTA or work from home, or are employed at one of the two major sectors, whether that's education with the University of Guelph or the other schools that you're going to find in Guelph, or also in the manufacturing, in particular in the automotive parts, with one of the main manufacturers being Linamar. And that's why a lot of residents either commute to the GTA or also out to the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area. However, like we mentioned, there's going to be lots of bottlenecks you need to plan for if you're thinking about making that daily commute. And that actually leads me on to my next con about living in Guelph, is the public transit. Now, with that said, when we're comparing it to the Greater Toronto Area, it's not very good. However, Guelph's public transit, in order just to get around or use the intercity buses, isn't that bad for a small town that's more in a rural setting. As overall, you're going to find 21 different bus routes that usually come anywhere from every 30 minutes to every hour, with the best accessibility to these buses either being in the downtown Guelph or close to Guelph University. And then also in the downtown area of Guelph, you'll also notice the Guelph GO train station, which gives you access to Toronto's Union Station in about an hour 30 train ride. However, the availability for these train rides is still lacking, as there's only a handful of train options that come each day. And then in terms of the bikeability, overall, in Guelph, you can bike roughly to get to some plazas depending on where you're living, because you will find some bike lanes, some quiet streets, and a few bike paths. However, the best biking you're going to be finding is either along the river's edge or out in one of the many parks to go on those more mountain biking trails. Which brings me on actually to the next pro about living in Guelph, and that is all the amazing parks that you're going to be having at your disposal, as you have the Guelph Lake Conservation Area, which is just about a 10-15 minute drive away from downtown Guelph and offers more than 4,000 acres centered around this reservoir, where in the summertime you can relax on the sandy beaches or go enjoy and explore the park through kayaking or canoeing. Or in the winter time, you can go on the same trails you're hiking in the summertime, but this case, go snowshoeing or cross-country skiing. And there are many popular festivals which are hosted here, like the Hillside Festival. If you're interested in learning all the community festivals that happen within Guelph that you need to go when you're living there, make sure to keep on watching. But the next park you'll need to check out will be the Arboretum. This is right beside Guelph University and actually took inspirations from the famous one at Harvard University. And this park here offers over 400 acres of amazing gardens to go and explore and walk around. And then you can also go check out, of course, Guelph University as well when you're in the area. And then two riverside parks you'll need to check out is, first, you have the Guelph Riverside Park, which is more than an 80-acre park sitting on the Speed River, making it a perfect spot for a stroll or an afternoon picnic. But actually, in the wintertime, when the river freezes up, you can go ice skating on the river here. And then year-round, but more specifically in the summertime, you can go play some baseball on the diamonds, as well as check out the jungle gym and even hit the links at their own disc golf course. And then perhaps my personal favorite riverside park in Guelph is the Royal City Park. Here is another green space to go for a stroll along the river, see the picturesque cover bridge, and then grab a ice cream to cool down at the boathouse, or rent a kayak or a canoe and paddle down the Speed River. Then throughout Guelph, you're also going to be finding many different community centers, which is the next pro, as there's two most notable ones. One's on the West End, and that is the West End Community Center, where you're going to find 3 different pools. One for kids to play in, one for people to do laps, and one for people to do physical therapy. But you'll also find a gym, ice rinks, and a public library there. And then on the east end of the city, you'll find the Victoria Road Recreation Center with more pools, a single ice rink, as well as a few conference rooms. And then one thing you will find throughout Guelph, however, happens to be a con, is the shopping options. As well, you can find everything you would ever need within Guelph's area. Compared to the shopping options in the Greater Toronto area, Guelph isn't going to offer that many options to choose from. As in total, you're going to find one shopping mall, the Stone Road Mall, with over 100 name brands to choose from. And then the majority of shopping plazas are either going to be on Stone Road, Highway 6, or Highway 7. Now, with that said, one of the things that my clients absolutely love about Guelph, especially if you're living on the west side, is that Costco, as this is the only Costco you're going to be finding within Guelph. And then another fan favorite, especially for myself and some of my family, is the amazing local businesses you're going to be finding throughout the downtown charming area of Guelph. And that actually brings me on to the next pro about living in Guelph, and that is the downtown area. As here, you could just stroll around and enjoy many of the heritage buildings that have great character, as Guelph was first established on April 23rd, 1827, and now has over 100 heritage buildings that are preserving its past. And I would highly recommend just booking off an afternoon weekend, grabbing a coffee, and strolling through this downtown area here. And in the summertime, you'll find many restaurants with some great patios to enjoy. Some of my friends and family's favorite local gems you'll need to check out are the Red Brick Cafe, a absolutely Guelph staple where you can grab a coffee, grab a croissant before you stroll downtown. But then you also have the Boathouse Tea Room and Ice Cream, like I mentioned, to grab an ice cream on a nice hot summer day. But then you'll also find the Baker Street Station and English Tavern to enjoy a beer and some amazing fish and chips, to the Greek Garden for some of the best Greek food in Guelph, to, in my opinion, Lady Glazed Donuts, the #1 spot to go grab a donut in Guelph. But then you also have Bon Gusto, an upscale Italian restaurant with some mouth-watering pasta and pizzas, to the Royal Electric Bar to go grab a beer or an amazing cocktail. So if you want to learn where the best breweries and cocktails and wineries are close to Guelph, keep on watching. But the next pro about living in Guelph is the amazing farmers market that happens in the downtown area and is open year-round on Saturday mornings. And then in the spring to fall time, you'll also find it open every Thursday afternoon, a perfect spot to go pick up some produce, some mouth-watering baked goods, and support local businesses. And then also on an annual basis, you're going to find many great local festivals, which is the next pro. As here, you're going to find the Hillside Festival, a local 3-day music festival that's been going on for more than 40 years, where you can dance, enjoy music, and some great food. But then you also have perhaps my favorite festival, the Guelph Rib Fest, that happens every year at the end of August, where you can pick up some fall off the bone ribs or some amazing pulled pork. But you can also go celebrate Canada Day here, where you can check out many local artists as well as some amazing fireworks celebrating Canada. And then one last one I'll quickly mention is the Santa Claus Parade, an absolute staple in my family's history here, where you can grab a nice warm hot chocolate and check out all the amazing floats that drive past, drummers that march past, and then get a glimpse of Santa Claus at the end. And usually in these festivals here, you're going to be seeing some familiar faces, which actually brings me on to the next pro about living in Guelph. And while it's more like a small city these days, you still get a lot of that small town community feel that Guelph offers you, where you find people knowing everybody else and just people looking out for other people that live on the same street. Now, with that said, this small town charm also comes with some drawbacks. Some we've talked about before, like the shopping, like the public transit, but the other one I often hear is there's not much nightlife in Guelph. As overall, you'll find a few bars. However, a lot of the nightlife is geared more towards the university population than for people that are a bit more mature. Now, with that said, while there's no great clubs like in Toronto, there's still no struggle to find many spots to grab amazing local beer, ciders, and cocktails, as some of the local favorites you'll need to check out is first the Fixed Gear Brewing, but you'll also find the Wrinkly Bear Brewing Company, Royal City Brewing, as well as the most notable one you'll probably know, Sleeman Brewing. And then just outside the downtown, you'll find Spring Mill Distillery to grab some amazing cocktails. And if you enjoy ciders like myself, then you'll need to check out Revel Cidery. Then another con associated with living in Guelph happens to be the limited amount of shows and events that really happen here. Now, if they do happen, because they do occasionally do happen, it's just not the same as in the Greater Toronto Area, especially when you compare it to a big city like Toronto. With that said, there's two major venues that they'll host them in. First is the Sleeman Center. This is also home to the Guelph Storm, a local OHL team that plays out of this here, but you'll also occasionally find some concerts. Most notably, recently happened was the Tragically Hip or the Headley concert. However, won't be as diverse of an options compared to that of Toronto. And then if you're looking for more of those comedy shows or local theater, you'll find a decent amount of shows at the River Run Center, which is right along the Speed River. Then another thing you need to do if you're living in Guelph is go check out the amazing golfing options, as here you're gonna find 10 different golf courses just a short drive away. Some of the closest ones you'll need to check out are the Guelph Country Club, Victoria East Golf Club, as well as the Gulf Lakes Golf and Country Club. And then one of the pros that I know a lot of my clients that are moving outside of the Greater Toronto Area also really love about Guelph is the green city aspect that Guelph is known for, as Guelph is one of the most environmentally friendly cities. And when you're moving away from Toronto and trying to get more of that green city vibe, Guelph definitely delivers this, as one of the most recent studies ranks Guelph as the 7th greenest city to live in all of Canada. But Guelph is also very rich in history, and you'll need to check out some amazing local history. As first, you have the Civic Museum, which you can learn all about the unique history in the region and check out more than 40,000 different artifacts from the region. But you'll also go check out Our Lady Immaculate, which is a beautiful Gothic architecture church that was built in the 1800s. But you'll also need to check out the birthplace of John McCrae, a famous poet who wrote the poem In Flanders Fields. So now that you know all the pros and cons of living in Guelph, is it right for you and your family? Comment down below. And if you want help from our real estate professionals, send me and my team a message today. Otherwise, the next video I'd recommend you go take a look at is my video breaking down the different pros and cons of living in Cambridge, Ontario. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.